Welcome at EYEROOM at Spectacle Warehouse. Today we have David Green back to talk about a little bit how to approach a floor full of frames when you've had your eye test. So all of you know, on Google and everywhere you go, people can give advice in terms of your facial shape. But sometimes it can be quite difficult to classify your own facial shape into a certain category. But today we're not going to speak about that. We're going to follow a little bit of a different approach. David, so what advice can you give patients on approaching a floor full of frames to pick the suitable one for themselves?
Stefan, it's such a good question because the frame is such an important decision. I like to firstly ask questions and listen as much as possible. It's fascinating if you find out what somebody does or kind of who they want to be. So it's amazing. Sometimes you find someone likes the outdoors or they like extreme sports, whatever. Just by listening to somebody, there's something inside them that can come out through a frame that they wear. The other tip which I love to do is to try and say, look, don't look at a little mirror like this. Look at a full-length mirror, because a frame is the new you. And it's incredible. For example, a lady can walk in and maybe she's got a purple scarf on or whatever. Pick up on that purple. She's chosen the purple scarf. There's an interesting relationship between color and shape. And what I find is, strange enough, often color can be almost as important or more important than shape. So if you hit the right color to pick up someone's eye color or their favorite purple, whatever, that can do an amazing thing for people. So when people walk out with a brand new frame and a lens, they literally feel like a new person. So listen very careful to who they are and who they want to be. But of course, I haven't mentioned the all-important side of that's the frame. But Stephanie, tell us about the lens.
David, that's a really important question. I mean, nowadays you get big frames, small frames, cat eye frames. But getting to different type of lenses, working with a multifocal or a little bit of a higher prescription, the frame choice is really important. I would say secondly to the eye test, the second most important part of your whole excursion to an optometrist. And I think the most important thing is to go for eye size, not to go too wide, because you lose some of the optical benefits if you go for too big. Doesn't mean in depth necessarily, but definitely in width. So a good reference point we always use is to look at the eye and to get the eye as central as possible in the frame. And then you can play with the shape and size and color. David, and is there any advice you can give in terms of colors? How can you approach different colors of frames on the market?
Yeah, I think, look, colors can do amazing things for a person. If someone wants to look studious and stern, black is always the default. But black can be a bit too stern for somebody. Crystals are huge at the moment. And there's been a bit of a trend in the industry from kind of completely clear crystal to crystal maybe with a slight orange in it or with a slight color. Very important to put the frame on, because sometimes if you see the frame on the rack, especially a crystal with a slight color in it, when you put it on your face, it can actually look very different because it kind of picks up your skin tone. So when you come to trying on frames, don't try too many frames on and don't leave too many lying on the table. It'll drive you crazy. If in doubt, chuck it out, all right? End up with maybe 4 or 5 frames and then maybe 3, and then your final choice can be between 2 different colors. Often if you have the same shape but in different colors, they can do completely different things for you. Kind of a tortoise is a nice Sunday morning, relaxing, social, approachable type of vibe. Crystal can be very friendly as well, picking up a color. Sometimes if you have an elderly lady, it can be very elegant to have a slight grey picking up their hair. It's incredible what color can do. And I think you've touched on such a valuable thing. This is teamwork. You've got the frame, you've got the color, you've got the shape, you've got the optical requirement. This is a clinical experience. And at the end of the day, when your patient walks out, you have a togetherness of optic perfection from a clinical point of view, a color that makes a part of them come out, and a shape that your patient walks out feeling like $1 million.
David, I think, yeah, it's so nice to know you can have a revamp of your external appearance every 2 years. So I think you might as well take the chance to play around with the frame, ticking all the boxes.
Absolutely.
So with that, I'm going to conclude the interview with David. And yeah, if you need any advice on choosing the right frame, please pop us a mail, and please subscribe to all our channels for more content like this.